Hey, I'm Siobhan, and I love talking about all the things related to freedom and personal growth. And I'm on a journey to redefine freedom on my own terms as I become the woman I desire to be. Each week, I'll share in real time what I'm learning as I do my inner work while creating a safe space for my listeners to feel seen. If you desire to be free and live a life that feels good to you, then you're in the right place for beautiful conversations that's going to support you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to the Siobhan J. Middleton podcast. Now let's start the show. Hey, welcome back to another episode of my podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where my goal is to inspire you to redefine freedom on your own terms by sharing my process and my journey in real time. And today I want to talk about what are you willing to do and is it worth it? And that question, or those questions I should say, stemmed from the book I'm currently reading called Black Cake. You probably have seen on Hulu, there's a whole TV series that I plan to watch, but I want to finish the book first. And I think I'm about 63% done. And I only know that because I use the app, the Reading List app, and it keeps track of all your books. I'll actually link to it in the show notes in case you're interested. Anywho, as I'm reading the book, and I'm not going to give out any spoilers in case you're reading it, but this question was posed: what are you willing to do, and is it worth it? And I've said this many times, I'm a deep thinker. I love deep conversations. I love to reflect and think about things. And once I read that question, I started thinking, what am I willing to do? And I'm still unpacking that for sure, but it's something that I wanted to pose to my audience because it's a really good reflective question as we wrap up 2023, But what I know right now in this moment, what I'm willing to do, I'm willing to do everything it takes to be free. For a huge chapter of my life, I would say, I have lived a specific kind of way. And now that I am more free than I've ever been, there are certain things that I don't foresee myself doing anymore. There's certain relationships I just am not interested in. There's certain environments that I don't want to be in, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be free. And then the follow-up question, is it worth it? And that's the question that I have to ask myself with everything that I'm doing. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? And I looked up the definition of willing, and Google says the word willing means ready, eager, prepared to do something. And after reading the definition, it reminded me of the quote that I've shared here on the podcast by Viola Davis that says, "The purpose of life is to live it." The purpose of life is to live it. So that quote and these two questions tie together. So when you think about living your life, what are you willing to do to live the life that you desire? And is it worth it, right? And for many people, and I did an episode about this a little bit ago, the reason that you feel stuck, you feel caged in your life, is because you're not really clear about what you want. And so if you were to ask yourself, well, what are you willing to do? If you're not clear about what you want, it's going to be hard to answer that question, right? And so I want you to think about this in every aspect of your life. What do you want? What are you willing to do for your career? What are you willing to do in your relationships? What are you willing to do in your social networks? Every area of your life, what are you willing to do? And again, for me, everything comes back to my number one value, which is freedom. Is this relationship? Is this environment? Is this job? Does it honor my value of being free? And is it worth it to me? And when you think about the definition of willing, being prepared to do something, and what are you doing? What are you willing to do? What are you eager and ready to do so that your life looks like how you want it to look? And so your life feels like the way that you want it to feel. One of the things that brings me so much joy is every morning after I drop my kids off at school, I come back home to get ready for the day and I make my coffee. And it's a slower process because I use a French press, so there's a ritual to it. And then after I make my coffee, I sit down on my beautiful pink sofa and I sip it slowly and I look out the window. And sometimes there's music in the background. I've been listening to Andre 3000's album, which I highly recommend it. And when I think about the ease to my day, the slowness of my day feels like how I want it to feel. I want my mornings to be slow and easy. I don't want, and I do not like the hustle and bustle of the day. I remember when I used to work in corporate America, and that was the frustration, like this busyness of the morning, the road rage I would have getting to and fro. And so I'll be honest, taking my kids to school in the morning, it is not my favorite thing to do. It's about a 20-minute drive, and I do not like it because it reminds me of the busyness of the morning that I used to endure when I worked for corporate. And now I know I want my mornings to feel easeful. I want them to feel slow. And what am I willing to do so that my days start the way that I want them to start? Okay, so there's some practices that I have to put in place. There's some things I have to say no to, right? And so, again, this question or these questions are worth exploring for the remainder of the year. I highly recommend you get a journal. And if you don't have time to journal, record voice notes on your phone just to begin to express what you're feeling out loud. I'll let you know I'm taking a break for the remainder of the year. I do this every single year, so this is not new, especially if you've been following for a while. And I'll be back in the beginning of 2024. And I do this because I need a break. There's some things I want to think through as I prepare for the new year, a lot of reflection. And not only do I take a break from podcasting, but also social media. And I've been thinking a lot about connection as well. And I really love connecting with my community. So I'm still going back and forth. But I think here or there, I'll send out a newsletter. And I really, really love the community that I have built through Substack, which is the platform that I'm using to send out weekly newsletters. I highly, highly, highly encourage you to subscribe because that way you'll stay in the loop. And then again, I'll be back to podcasting top of the year, which is so crazy that we are ending another year. And, every year like this, what I tend to do is, I want to think about everything that has happened, some beautiful moments, some growing moments, the healing, everything. Like I just want to take inventory and an audit on my life, specifically on the year, and then move accordingly. I have some ideas, I have some thoughts, but I need a space and time to kind of map those out. So that is what I will be doing, along with resting, being present in my life, and enjoying my home. I love my home. Like my apartment feels absolutely amazing, and I want to spend more time here. And also, I'm going to be outside. Oh man, I've been enjoying that a lot as well. So I want to let you know that I am taking a break, but like every year, it's not new. I will be back top of the year with new thoughts, talking about redefining freedom, what my word for the year will be, which I don't have that yet. A part of me feels like I want to stay in this space of curiosity, especially with, I shared, was that last week? I believe I shared, or the week before last, taking myself on solo dates and what I'm learning about these experiences, but also the new connections that I'm making and having, and curious if I'll talk about dating. I don't know. We shall see, because that is quite interesting. But there's so much that I want to share and I want to express. And yeah, so I'm going to be planning for that as well. Again, I want you to take time and answer these questions for yourself. And like I mentioned earlier, Andre 3000's album is a beautiful project that you can just sit with, that you can meditate to, what have you. And I highly recommend you take a listen. And I think it'll be the perfect background as you answer these questions for yourself. So that is what I have for you today. I am so grateful that you're a part of this community, and I'm excited to see what's to come as we enter this new phase of a new year, a new chapter, a new book, and I'm thankful for you. I would love, love, love for you to treat me to a cup of coffee. You can do that by clicking the link in the show notes. Thank you every week to someone who says, you know what, I love the work that you're doing. I learned something from what you shared. Here's a cup of coffee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter. The link is in the show notes. And again, because I'm taking a break for the rest of the year, it will not be a weekly newsletter. But if I'm inspired to pop in and say, hey, I'll do that. But again, subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And then lastly, I would love for you to rate this podcast 5 stars, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, in the comment section, and also on Spotify. Share this episode with a friend, and maybe you can explore the question together. And yeah, that's it for the year. So sending you so much love and light, wishing you a beautiful holiday season. Take care of yourself. And I'll be back in 2024.